Hello, everyone, and welcome. We're tackling one of the biggest questions in biology today. And let me tell you, it's a guaranteed high score on your CUET exam. We're talking about the origin of life. How do we get from a lifeless rock to the world we see today? I promise you, if you stick with me to the end of this explainer, you will be able to answer any question on this topic, no problem. Let's get those marks.
So, this is the massive question, right? How can life come from non-life? Now, for your exam, this is crucial. You're going to see questions about the Oparin-Haldane hypothesis, the Miller-Urey experiment, and this thing called a reducing atmosphere. Understanding these key points means you're just grabbing easy marks. So let's make sure we don't leave any of those behind.
Okay, first things first. To get how life started, we've got to go way, way back in time. I want you to picture a planet that looks nothing like ours. We're talking about 4 billion years ago. A chaotic, violent, and completely sterile world. This is our starting point.
Now, let's talk about the air back then. The atmosphere was what we call a reducing atmosphere. You absolutely need to highlight that term in your notes. It was a mix of gases like methane, ammonia, hydrogen, and water vapor. But, and this is super important, it's a classic trick question, what was missing? Free oxygen. Write it down, circle it, whatever you have to do. No free oxygen.
So you've got this wild mix of gases, but for anything to happen, you need some energy, right? A spark to get the party started? Well, early Earth had energy like you wouldn't believe. We're talking intense UV radiation from the sun since there was no ozone layer, constant massive lightning storms, and incredible heat from volcanoes erupting all over the place. These forces weren't just random chaos. They were the engines, the power source to kickstart chemistry.
Okay, so we've got our ingredients and we've got the energy. But how does that turn into something meaningful? This is where a truly game-changing idea comes into the picture, a theory that completely changed our understanding of biology.
The idea is called the chemical evolution theory. You might also see it as the Oparin-Haldane hypothesis. Remember those two names. What these scientists figured out, working separately, was that life probably didn't just appear in a flash. Nope. It was a slow, step-by-step process. Simple, non-living molecules, zapped with all that energy, slowly reacted and combined over millions of years to form bigger, more complex stuff. It's basically evolution before life even existed. And Oparin gave us this awesome way to think about it, the primordial soup. Just imagine the ancient oceans weren't clear blue water. Instead, think of a warm, murky broth, just simmering with all these new organic molecules that were forming in the atmosphere and raining down. This soup was the kitchen where the first recipe for life was being written.
Now, a cool idea is one thing, but science is all about proof, right? For a long time, this primordial soup was just a hypothesis. That is, until 1953, when two scientists, Stanley Miller and Harold Urey, came up with an absolutely brilliant experiment to try and recreate those ancient conditions right there in their lab.
Just look at this setup. It's so clever. They basically built a tiny, self-contained primitive Earth. So in step 1, they pumped in those gases: methane, ammonia, hydrogen, water vapor. For step 2, they used electric sparks to act like lightning. Step 3, a condenser cooled everything down, just like rain, which washed any new chemicals into a flask at the bottom, their mini ocean. And after running this for just 1 week, they did step 4. They analyzed what was in the water.
And this, my friends, is the big moment. The punchline of the whole story. What do you think they actually found in that flask? After just 7 days, what could have possibly formed from that simple mix of gas and electricity?
Amino acids! They found amino acids! Seriously, just let that sink in. These are the building blocks of proteins. And proteins do pretty much everything in a living cell. So from a bunch of simple gases and a spark of energy, Miller and Urey had spontaneously created the fundamental components of life itself. Wow!
So the takeaway here, the big conclusion, is that the Miller-Urey experiment gave us the very first hard evidence supporting the Oparin-Haldane hypothesis. It showed everyone that the journey from non-living chemicals to the building blocks of life wasn't some kind of magic. It was just chemistry. It could have happened all on its own.
Okay, now I need everyone to listen very, very carefully. We're now entering the common mistakes zone. This is where students get confused and lose easy marks on the exam. We have to be super clear about what this experiment proved and, maybe even more importantly, what it did not prove. Here it is. The #1 mistake is saying that Miller and Urey created life in a flask.
They did not. Look at this comparison. The experiment proved that you can form simple organic molecules, the ingredients for life, under those early Earth conditions. It did not prove the creation of a living cell. Think of it this way. They made the bricks, but they didn't build the house. That distinction is absolutely critical. Don't fall into that trap.
All right, that was a lot of information, so let's lock it in with some quick memory tricks for the exam. Get ready. First one, think Oparin and ocean soup. Easy, right? Second, think Miller-made amino acids, just like MMA. And the third, most important point to burn into your brain, NO, oxygen. If you can remember those three things, you're in a really good spot.
Okay, time for a quick revision round. Let's go. Early Earth's atmosphere was what? Reducing? Why? Because there was no free oxygen. Who proposed chemical evolution? Oparin and Haldane. And who proved it was possible? Miller and Urey. Okay, practice question for you. In the Miller-Urey experiment, the electric discharge was used to simulate what? Pause if you need to. The answer is lightning. Great job.
And that leads us to our final thought for today. Why was it so important that there was no oxygen? Well, think about what oxygen does. It's super reactive. It's the reason metal rusts. If free oxygen had been floating around back then, it would have immediately attacked and destroyed these new organic molecules as soon as they formed. So the lack of oxygen wasn't just a random detail. It was the one thing that made the whole recipe for life possible. All right, amazing work today. How'd you do on that practice question? Drop your score in the comments below. If you're serious about crushing the CUET exam, make sure you subscribe because we're going to keep breaking down these high-yield topics. Now go revise these notes, and I'll see you in the next one.